Jonas Vingegaard, the Viking who hibernates differently. Every year, when the last autumn leaves fall and the World Tour calendar ends, the cycling world splits into two types of athletes. Those who go on tropical vacations to eat pizza and pretend that they've never heard of a power meter. And then there's Jonas Vingegaard. While most riders are posting beach photos with fruity drinks and captions like "finally off the bike," Jonas is somewhere in the Danish tundra chopping wood for active recovery. The post-tour cooldown, or so he says. After the 2025 season ended, the official story was that Vingegaard was taking it easy. His coach, Tim Himskirk, told Danish TV that Jonas would, quote, spend time with family and gradually return to training, which translated from Team Visma PR language, meaning he's already on the turbo trainer before you finish reading this sentence. There's no such thing as off-season in Vingegaard's vocabulary. While some pros give their bikes a break, Jonas gives his heart rate zones a break. Briefly, for him, winter training is not about rest, but refinement. He shifts from high-intensity racing mode to a monk-like regimen of endurance, structure, and borderline asceticism. Imagine Rocky Balboa's cabin montage, but with less shouting and more spreadsheets. He starts his mornings in the cold Danish air, sometimes in Girona, when the snow gets too heavy, but mostly in controlled solitude. 3 to 4 hour rides, low zone 2, steady cadence, and the kind of rides where podcasts fear to tread. Because Jonas isn't trying to impress anyone in the winter, he's trying to disappear into the data. The low and slow philosophy. While the cycling internet argues about base miles versus sweet spot training, Jonas quietly logs both. His philosophy, build the engine until it's unbreakable. He'll do 4-hour rides averaging 220 watts, which doesn't sound like much until you remember that's your all-out effort and his coffee stop pace. Visma's sports scientists have built his winter program like a precision experiment. Mondays, long anaerobic ride. Tuesdays, strength work in the gym. Wednesdays, double sessions. Thursdays, threshold intervals at terrifying steady power output. Friday is rest day, which for Jonas means ride only 2 hours and feel guilty about it. By December, he's averaging 25 to 30 hours a week, almost all in low-intensity endurance mode, with strategic injections of threshold work to, quote, keep the system awake. The philosophy is simple. The more boring the winter, the more brutal the July becomes. Gym work, the Danish dungeon as I call it. Jonas in the gym is a sight most fans never see, let's be honest, because he is like the anti-bodybuilder. Where some riders focus on visible muscles like Remco, Jonas's workouts look like slow-motion pain fests for his ligaments. His winter gym workouts include single-leg squats, core stability, and balance drills on Bosu balls, and they make him look like he's auditioning for a Circuit du Soleil show. He works with lightweight resistance, but precise control, because his goal isn't to bulk up, it's biomechanical harmony. Vingegaard doesn't want to, quote, get stronger, he wants to waste fewer watts. Team Visma's sports scientists call this neural efficiency. Normal people call it insanity. Nutrition, the monk's menu. Here's where Jonas truly becomes otherworldly. In winter, when riders traditionally loosen their diets, Jonas apparently doesn't. While Pogačar is posting pictures of tiramisu and espresso, Jonas's Instagram, if he used it, would feature porridge, fish, and something called smørbrød, which sounds fun until you realise it's rye bread and more fish on it. His diet remains calibrated, protein recovery shakes, measured carb loading, and Danish soups so plain they could be prescribed by a nutritionist. He drinks black coffee and water, occasionally allowing himself the luxury of a banana. And somehow it works, because by the time February rolls around, Jonas's body fat is already tour ready. His teammates call it machine mode, his wife calls it Too early, Jonas. Please eat something. Winter mind games. Here's the other secret. Jonas Vingegaard doesn't just train his legs, he trains his mind. While Pogačar is out doing cafe rides in Monaco, Jonas is visualizing the Tourmalet in his garage. He uses VR software, listens to recordings of the peloton's ambient noise, and practices focus under pressure. He treats winter like a physiological simulation chamber, a place to sharpen, detach, and reprogram himself for July. If cycling were a video game, Jonas would be the player who spends hours farming experience points before the first boss battle. The Pogačar comparison. In winter, Jonas becomes the introvert of the peloton. No parties, no snowy group rides, and no smiling selfies. His life is as minimalist as his training plan, a flat line of consistency. Meanwhile, Pogačar's winter is, let's just say, different. Jonas's Instagram would show what data, Tadej shows snowball fights. And yet that's exactly why this rivalry works. One is pure discipline, the other is pure chaos, but we'll get to that chaos next. Tadej Pogačar, the artist who trains like he's improvising jazz. If Jonas Vingegaard's winter training is a science experiment, Tadej Pogačar's is a rock concert. Every December, while other pros retreat into data caves, Tadej comes alive. He trains, sure, but he also plays. He skis, he hikes, he mountain bikes, he eats too much pasta, and somehow by March, he's still capable of annihilating half the peloton. Off-season chaos with a plan. Tadej starts his rest period in late October, but rest for him doesn't mean what you think. He doesn't lie on a beach doing nothing. He just trades the road bike for every other form of exercise under the sun. He's often seen trail running through Slovenia, mountain biking with Urska, or skiing like a madman down the Alpine slopes. He calls it cross-training. His coach, Jeroen Schwartz, calls it, please don't break a collarbone. But here's the thing, it works. His body thrives on variety. While Vingegaard spends December perfecting power zones, Pogačar spends it exploring altitude trails at random heart rates. One day it's a 3-hour gravel ride, the next day it's snowboarding, then a Zwift session just for fun, which of course still averages 320 watts. It's all just base building to him. It's unpredictable, unstructured, and somehow perfectly effective. When he gets serious, it's scary. Come mid-December, Tadej's playtime morphs into purpose. He heads to altitude camps, often in Sierra Nevada or Livigno, with a training plan that looks deceptively loose. 5 to 6 hours a day, some days steady endurance, some days full gas climbs because, quote, I felt like it. This is the Pogačar paradox. He trains like he's improvising, but his psychology is so absurd that it all turns into structured perfection by accident. His coach once said, quote, he has an internal power meter, and when you see his data, it's terrifying. 400 watt climbs, 30-minute threshold repeats, endurance rides averaging 280 watts, all while cracking jokes. While Jonas's training looks like a spreadsheet, Tadej's looks like an abstract painting, chaotic from afar, but genius up close. What about the gym? Well, he only seems to do that when he feels like it. Unlike Jonas, who treats gym sessions like a sacred ritual, Tadej treats them like optional side quests. He'll go twice a week, maybe. He'll do squats, lunges, and some core work, then wander off to, throw some basketballs around. His strength work is more functional, designed to keep his muscles adaptive rather than rigid. He focuses on agility, flexibility, and balance rather than maximal power. So comparing the two riders is kind of cool. Of course, we'll never know everything they do, as a lot of stuff is secretive, but from the research I did, this is what I found out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave a like on today's video for good luck, and subscribe if you're new here to stay up to date with all of the latest cycling news. I'll catch you guys tomorrow.